Welcome to the Deer Wizard Podcast, conversation shaping the deer industry. I'm your host, Josh Newton, the Deer Wizard. Through interviews, advocacy, and industry news, we deliver field-proven insights to help producers build better herds. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Deer Wizard Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about marketing, advertising, trade shows, maybe some of the importance of those things. I got some notes here in front of me, so if you see me looking down, I'm just referencing these. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Feel free to share the show out. Make sure you subscribe, like the shows. We're trying to grow our reach a bit here. We are also listed up on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, so you can listen to the audio version as well. So I think to start, I think it's important to note, why trade shows matter, right? And I get that, there can be some fatigue that comes from doing trade shows, right? Because you got to travel, you're away from your farm, you got to find somebody to help cover feed, taking care of your animals, et cetera, if you got a farm. Or some sort of related business to that, and it feels almost like you're being dragged away from what you're supposed to be doing. But that face to face still matters, right? And so we're in this connected world. I'm sitting in my office right now. You guys are able to watch me at any time you want. Pause, skip ahead, etc. We're connected through this magic internet, and it's super cool. And of course, a lot of business gets done via Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the social networks are that you're engaging in, right? And everybody has a little bit different, kind of business model or advertising model, et cetera. And that digital marketplace, the one we're on now, excuse me, cannot replace face-to-face. It matters, right? So I think about maybe a new producer, right? We'll play both ends of this spectrum. I'm thinking about a new producer, maybe just getting into deer, within the past few years, and they want to start meeting maybe some of the people that they've talked to on the phone or that they've engaged with online or that they've purchased, semen from or something like that, some sort of intermediary transaction that maybe they didn't have to do face to face, right? Like if you're purchasing animals from someone, like most likely you're going to the farm or they're delivering them and you're meeting face to face. But you can easily purchase semen or embryos from somebody, and you never get to meet them in person, which is it's normalized in today's world, but 20 years ago that was odd, right? And maybe we'll get into some of the older ways that we all communicated with each other. But it just, that face-to-face interaction is important, right? And so you get to build trust with people. And obviously in our business, that's really important. In any business, that's important. But, I think for an animal industry like ours, and of course, there's various segments of that, whether you be on the breeding side, the hunting side, you're a broker, you're a hauler, whatever that looks like. Those face-to-face interactions, they number one, build your brand, and they establish trust between those relationships. And you're having real conversations, right? Not that this conversation's not real. I've always told you guys that I really enjoy doing these and kind of sharing some of my thoughts and then interacting with you, down in the comments section or something like that. But, it doesn't replace body language, right? So you're having a conversation with somebody and you're assessing and reading their body language. That's important. So the other parts of this and why I think it's important is these shows, we'll call them trade shows. In our business, they're almost always coupled with an auction. And so I'm recording this just prior to going to the top 30. When you guys listen to this, the top 30 will be concluded and done because it'll probably come out the following week. But when you go to these, you kind of get a pulse on where the industry's at, what the direction looks like. There's always things that are going on, right? And these can be, trends in genetics. They can be new technologies in reproduction. They can be related to regulatory issues. We have, national issues from a regulatory side. There's individual state issues. Everybody has this kind of, different take or different engagement in their reality in the world and how their businesses operate. And it's always good to chat with those folks. You never know when you're gonna hit it off and strike up this new relationship that you've never had before. The other part is it builds reputation, right? And so, consistently getting out, showing yourself, saying, "Hey, I'm here to participate in this industry, and here's some of the things I have to offer, whatever that may be." And so, those are all good things. Now, on the other side of that, you could look at, someone that's been in this business for 40 years, right? And um, they still have that consistent presence in the marketplace, right? And they want to be able to highlight their achievements and what they have going on at their farm or in their business. And so that's a way to, meet up with old friends, have those good conversations. And so I think that's important. And I have a note here. It just says you don't build real trust in the comment section, right? And so again, we interact in this digital world where we're chatting back and forth online a lot. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's always good to go shake somebody's hand, have a real convo with them, and enjoy that. So um, I've defined some kind of things that I thought were important, and prior to maybe going to a trade show or what to prepare for. And of course, many of you guys have done more trade shows than I have. I try to go to as many as I can. And, if you go to just one, like if you're going to the top 30 here, you'll see all sorts of different, advertising, different marketing strategies, giveaways, different booth setups, um, different ways to display antlers and mounts and just it's never ending. People are so creative with what they do, and I love that. So um, I think, when you go, kind of before you go, what are some of the things that are important to you, and what are you going there for, right? Are you going to educate? Are you going to sell something? Are you going just to network and hang out? Are you going to support a specific association or agenda, or the list goes on and on. But like having a maybe a defined strategy a little bit, as opposed to just, hey, I'm going to this and it is what it is. I think can be important because you can then, tailor the things that you want to get out of it and that you want to offer to the industry. So those are important, right? Marketing and advertising materials, obviously, a must have is, if you're setting up a booth, is having just kind of clean signage, right? So, high quality pictures, making sure that your font types are legible. You have maybe a clear message of what it is you do or what you're trying to promote. Having business cards is super important. Even if even if you don't have a booth, just when you meet someone, it's super nice just to be able to give them a business card and say, here's my contact info. um because stuff gets lost in translation, right? Oh yeah, hey, I'll give you a call, and then you mistype their phone number in or an email or whatever, and you can't get in touch with that person. Then you're trying to figure out who it was or whatever. So having a business card is really, I think, important. Um, Again, if you're even if you're not setting up a booth, you're just walking around, enjoying the show, interacting and meeting with people at the trade show or the auction. Having some small rack cards or flyers or whatever that is great. because people are always asking, they're always intrigued when they're having conversations, and they're interested in what you do. And it's great just to be able to be like, here's something that I've been working on, that I'm proud of. So it's nice to be able to have those handoffs. The other thing that I see that's becoming more and more kind of commonplace and popular is the use of QR codes, right? So I know there's many times where, I won't be like, I stepped out to go to the bathroom or grab a drink or some food or something, and somebody will come by the booth having a QR code on a booth display or a banner, or even on a little, tabletop flyer or something like that, where someone can just take their phone and they can hit that QR code, and they got the information they need. Maybe it's a direct link to a website or a social media channel or whatever that is. Um, those are super helpful. They're pretty slick. Almost everybody's got a phone in their pocket. Um, Show only handouts. So that might be a specific sale item or offer that's being offered specifically at that trade event. And people come up with, I've seen tons and tons of different contests. And again, you guys are so creative with that. Keep it up. I always enjoy seeing those. I like participating in some of them if I can, to the best of my ability. The other thing is just like branded apparel, right? So like, get some hats made, right? If you're gonna walk around, if you wear a ball cap, get some hats made. Like, they're super uh, cool. People enjoy getting them. If you want to give a couple out, that's great. I'm a big fan of hats, so I'm always repping something. I think today I got the PDFA on, and they're good to have. If you're kind of working down that road, there's all sorts of different types of branded apparel. Obviously, getting shirts made, whether those are button downs or polos or just screen printed shirts. We've seen folks do. There's all these different sponsors available for different association events, whether it be on state level or maybe at an ADIFA or something like that. And people do Sharpies where they put their business logo or contact info. um, Hand sanitizer bottles, water bottles, tote bags, deer masks. There's endless amounts of swag. We'll call it swag, right? That you can get branded up, and that helps get your name out here. I'm gonna reach over. Excuse me if it's loud on the podcast or you're seeing me. I'm just gonna grab a Sharpie. Let's see who we got. We got Applied Reproductive Concepts. So I know they were a sponsor for the PDFA. It's just a Sharpie with their logo and their name on it, right? Um, Super cool. Like, I have that right here. I use it all the time. Here, let's grab another one. See what we got. Yep, another another ARC. I must have grabbed two or three of them. Yep, we got a Rocky Ridge pen from John Irvin. So like, people, like, you may not think about it, but like, people pick them up, and it's just that little subtle reminder. So doing those things, I think is valuable, and so check that out. So as far as the booth setups themselves, like if you're setting up, those first impressions I think are important. So not having chaos is good. And I know it's challenging because we have a lot of these different things. But just like keeping your design work as clean as you can, again, that's challenging. I struggle with this all the time. Um, you know, avoid the folding table chaos, right? So if you have a bunch of tables with like all sorts of different stuff, less is usually more. Like, if you walk up to a booth, you want to just be like, "Yep, I know what this is," and so that's important. And then obviously the basics of meeting people, good contact, firm handshake, all that good stuff. I don't need to go through that. So again, if you're going to trade shows and you don't have a booth, having those conversations are really good. And like, we're all friends, but we're all competitors too. And so you can learn so much from other people about what they're doing and how they approach things. And if you ask good questions and you're curious, that really, really makes an impact on how you can kind of come back to the marketplace, maybe with some of your own thoughts and ideas. So it's cool to meet new producers, new vendors, talk with young folks again, get engaged with these people. It's really, really interesting. On the support side of things, a lot of these events have some sort of benefit auction that's accompanying with them and supporting the state or national association that's associated with this particular event. I think has a lot of merit. And, if there's things that you want to ask, there's almost always a representative there from, a various association. Be like, hey, what are you guys working on? Is there any issues that are coming up? Can I be of help? That's always a great thing. There are just not enough of us to volunteer within the space. And so, get active, figure out how you can be a part of growing our industry. And so those are just a couple, again, really quick thoughts that I had that I wanted to share. We can take this in a ton of different directions, but I just wanted to hit you guys up and, you know, just get those couple things off my mind. I know that it was actually on my mind because I'm kind of preparing to put some stuff together for the top 30. Most of it's done, thank goodness, and I look forward to seeing everybody up there and maybe putting some of these things into action in the real world. So, with that, stay tuned for another episode of the Deer Wizard Podcast.